So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq. And it is the Demetra Kaye Show every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Is the Demetra Kaye Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even. And this is probably one of the only shows where we read each and every comment, question, or concern, because we feel like you should not just be a viewer, but you should be a participant as well, right? And so also like to say thank you to YouTube and Facebook for being the other side of the conversation. Also like to thank Marcus Guyton for everything that he does behind the scenes on Facebook, which I forgot to remind him, so maybe he'll see this and then he'll chime in. And everything else in between, right? And so before I get into our topic of the R. Kelly trial, why it's important to support Black media, I'm going to go ahead and let me say hello to everybody before I give the Donovan. Monet, what's going on? Eli, Anais, Robin, Tisha, that guy from Texas. All right, Donovan, so what say you?
Hey, you guys, when it's Sunday, it's Demetra Kaye. So please do not forget to sign my petition, 1 million Black men against Demetra Kaye, because we are going to shut this channel down as she continues to wake Black people up. And that goes against the norm in this country. We don't want Black people woken up. We don't want you guys to look out for yourselves. We don't want you guys to do for yourselves. We want you to be dependent, and it is dependent on us to shut shows like this down. But we welcome you guys to the show. Thank you guys for your ideas. There's a lot of places you can be right now. Football is going on right now. The Raiders are playing the Chiefs right now, and you guys decided to come here, so we greatly appreciate you. And please do not forget to please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you have a few quarters, a few coins, don't forget to drop into the Cash App and the Super Chat and all that other good stuff, and and help us get this message out before we shut her down.
Like I said, you're gonna need 1 million more. And who else came on here? Olivia Jonelle, Sunlight. What's going on with you? I know that guy from Texas, Donovan, is a straight up nut. But before we do, I want to go ahead and give us a little bit of a hey George, how you doing? A little bit of a commercial, if y'all don't mind. Oops. Hey, Demetra Kaye fans. Are you looking for the gear that says it without you actually having to say it? Well, if you visit TheDivaBrand.Shop, you can find all kind of unique t-shirts, mugs, backpacks, hats, and baby clothes, just to name a few. And guess what? All of the proceeds go to the melanated market, which helps Black-owned businesses be able to sell their merchandise with no problems at all. Again, visit TheDivaBrand.Shop to get everything you want and more. All right, y'all. So,
golly, that bass was blowing out my damn speakers. What's
good? Good.
I'm glad you haven't forgotten your West Coast roots. Keep it G.
Right, okay. So anyway, y'all, check out the Diva Brand at TheDivaBrand.Shop for all of your personalized needs and all of that. So anyway, the last couple of days or so almost 2 weeks at this point. Who else came on here? Todd, how you doing? Let's see. Who else? Terry, Brandy, and the Pioneer. Okay, so as you guys may or may not know, for the last 2 weeks or so, the R. Kelly trial has been going on, okay? And so we've pretty much seen, and to be honest with you, I haven't really been following the R. Kelly trial like that. I'll see little snippets here and there, right? And so the reason I'm talking about it today in regards to supporting Black media is because you guys aren't really getting the full story. You guys are only getting snippets, and you're getting it from, I hate to say it, or maybe I don't hate to say it, a white media point of view, and, the media outlets that are paid off, I would say, by white supremacy. Now, R. Kelly is on trial for a whole bunch of things, from sex trafficking, having sex with minors, and you name it, right? He's on trial for it. And so He is looking at about 200 years or so if he's found guilty. I think they're trying him in New York, Atlanta, Chicago, just to name a few places. And so he's, I believe, in New York at this time. And so this brother here by the name of Dennis Byron, he actually has a media pass to cover the trial. And so he picked up on this particular article here from The Hill, and he says, sorry, at the Hill opinion and the Hill event, your headline is inaccurate. Witness did not testify R. Kelly carried a gun while demanding sex. She testified that a gun was in the area and also said the sex wasn't forced. I was there inside the courtroom watching. Okay. And so he's basically saying, you guys are not telling the truth. Okay. And so another thing that I saw last week on Facebook is what it was. And this here by Shay Wills, 48. She says the case is straight BS. Witnesses getting caught up in so many lies on the stand. It is unbelievable. All the so-called young women admitted to lying about their age, having fake IDs just to get close to him because he was checking their ages. Parents even told them to lie about their age and take pictures. My thing is, if he was a predator, why would they have to lie about their age? He wouldn't care. A waste of taxpayers' dollars. No video as promised by prosecution. All hearsay. I must wonder what's the government's motive with this one. There are real victims in the world. This case is a mockery of the real victim's pain. All right, so I want to say this. No way, shape, or form am I saying that anybody is lying or anything like that. I put up her post to illustrate, because it sounds like she was in the courtroom as well, to illustrate the stories that are coming out about R. Kelly in the case are not completely accurate. It sounds like the media, the mainstream media, if you will, they're twisting it to, fit a certain narrative that he is a monster. And I'm not saying he's not. I believe that R. Kelly is a monster, right? To some degree anyway. But, if they're going to report the things that are coming out of the trial, they should report the truth. Because what I showed you there, with the brother saying that's not true. I'm in the courtroom, right? And I'll show you guys, his credentials just to show you that he is actually in the courtroom. Let me see here. I got to minimize my screen. Sorry. So he's saying, too, where are all the Black journalists that have previously spoke on the case of R. Kelly during the Surviving R. Kelly? You guys remember the Lifetime movie that came out about R. Kelly, this, that, and the other documentary, that have yet to apply for media credentials at Brooklyn Federal Court. Stop regurgitating the news. Do firsthand reporting. So there's his press pass and everything like that. But he's saying, where is all this, Black media that reported about R. Kelly day in, day out? And they, of course, were getting their snippets from mainstream media, as he said, regurgitating the things that they heard. And he's like, basically, y'all need to be in here so you guys can report it as you see it, not as you hear it, right? Because we know, and I sound like Trump, right? But the mainstream media, they're not going to give it to us straight, especially in regards to Black things. And so how do I tie this into supporting Black media, right? You got a lot of Black media outlets out there, like the African Diaspora News Channel and, Tariq Nasheed and a whole host of other people. I can, go on and on. The Black Authority and, outlets like that are constantly reporting the news and the things that you guys won't hear in mainstream media. But how often do we really support Black media? Now, of course, there's your Roland Martins out there, but it sounds like Roland Martin is out there, spewing off the talking points of, the mainstream media. He's called, R. Kelly all kind of names and this, that, and the other. But I don't know if Roland Martin is in the courtroom at all. But it's a shame that, it's a shame, but it's not surprising that different narratives are coming out. And so with a case like R. Kelly's case, where it seems like the true victims do need justice, what a shame that they're not actually telling the truth. They're not telling all the truth, regardless of what it is. See, they want you guys to believe that, all of these girls in the case, the witnesses or whatever, were completely innocent. Now, listen, if they were minors, I don't care what they did. R. Kelly was the grown up and he should have stayed away from them, period. Right. But as the girl that I put her post up, she says the parents were involved. The girls lied about their age, brought fake IDs, even though, R. Kelly and his people were checking for IDs and asking ages. And so we as Black people need to do our best to support Black media in any way, shape, or form, whether it's sharing the information, whether it's donating to the channel, being a participant, if you will, in the comment section, whatever it is we need to do to really get the truth out there and, make it a way so that journalists, true Black journalists, I'm not talking about bought and paid for journalists, but true Black journalists can actually make it into some of these courtrooms, get a press pass, and report the trials and stuff as we actually see it. And so I'm going to get to you guys' comments shortly after Donovan.
Yeah, just real quick. When it comes to a public trial in the United States, there is no place you can go to get a press pass. According to the First Amendment to the Constitution, everybody is press. Freedom of the press means everybody can report whatever they need. So there is no universal place to get a press pass. You just say, I'm press, I'm doing this story, or I'm covering this story for the public knowledge. You are now press. Now, in a private institution, you have to get a press pass because that's their policy, and they could bar you from coming in there. But in a courtroom, you do not necessarily need a press pass. So again, a lot of our politicians and our rights are subjugated to corporations who control the narrative. So just for a lot of people that don't know that, you do not necessarily need I have a shirt that Demetra's daughter made for me, and it says press. Whenever I go outside and a cop stops me from what I'm doing, constitution protected activity of photographing and stuff like that, I just point to my shirt and I just say press, and that's a constitutionally protected activity. Now, a lot of people say, well, the city, and a lot of police officers don't know the law, okay? A policy is not law. Policemen are there to enforce the law. They're not feelings enforcement, right? I had to literally break it down to a police officer and tell them, what is the supreme law of the land? The Constitution. Whatever this is, then the states, then the county, the municipality, and that's how it rolls. That's how the laws roll. So no matter what a city does or a county does, it doesn't trump the supreme law. So again, we really got to know our rights, get back into knowing that. And then, again, that trial is a travesty. And if you notice, I put in the comments, Demetra, when you get to it, where are the enablers? Why aren't they on trial? I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with this. And I think that they're doing this also in the Jeffrey Epstein trial. Look at how many people's names came off of that list in the Jeffrey Epstein trial. So they are trying to distract people and get this person to narrow it down to one person. That's why I think the enablers haven't been brought in, because then you would bring in Bill Clinton, you would bring in Hillary Clinton, you would bring in Donald Trump, and all these other people in the Jeffrey Epstein case. And why is it that R. Kelly's case has gone quicker than the Epstein case? How did that happen? So let's get to these comments and see what our friends have to say.
All right. And then really too, so Donovan say anybody is press, but a lot of times in these high profile cases, the press passes are limited, because everybody's trying to get in there. But, it does incur some expense to have to travel. Let's say you don't live in New York and you're a media outlet, you're in California. It takes some expenses to travel, to stay, and, all of that. And so that's why I say it's important, really to help new Black media. So, Todd, you say peace, Demetra and Donovan. Demetra, wear your hair like the poster Donovan has behind him. I like that style. I'll try to do that one day, but it's a little bit longer. My hair is longer than that poster. That picture, it was shorter then. But one day I may try to do that. And the Pioneer says, good evening, beautiful queen, king, and family. Yes, indeed. And Brandy say, rise, everyone, peace. And Raven, how you doing? It says, konnichiwa, my peeps. That means hello, right? In Japanese. What does it mean?
Oh, konnichiwa means good evening.
Oh, same difference to me. Tawana, how you doing? Pioneer says, I notice a lot of Black folks, especially Black women, have been calling themselves divas over the past 20 to 30 years, but do they know what the word actually means? Probably not. It's just, I don't know. I think, because I don't know like the technical definition, but to me, diva means a woman who is of high esteem and who is like a queen, if you will. I don't know. So my daughter crazy. She's singing something about some diva. Is that a Beyonce song? Oh.
Oh, and speaking of which, remember we were talking about jury duty, I think last week sometime?
You got a summons.
I got my summons.
All right. And let's see here. Donovan says it's another triple digit day here in California. Fires are starting up. Wow. And Gloria, how you doing? And I usually say Whitey. And Michi, what's going on with you? Says I haven't been following. I haven't really been following either. I feel like I know all I need to know about it. I've been, following since about 2012 or so. So, and let's see here. And I used to say we should listen to Black media only. Yeah, I mean, there's some benefits of listening to the mainstream media, like the weather, and even some of that times that's skewed. But yeah, we should listen to Black media that truly has the interest of Black people at heart. And Olivia says, you're right. But the plaintiff, Jane, is covering the entire case so far. So for everyone that wants Black news from our people, check out her page as well. Yes.
Yeah, I've been watching her. Yeah. Yeah,
I've heard of her and I've seen a couple of her things. So yes, follow her as well too. She was covering what's the cat that just went to jail? Ed Buck. She was covering it and she basically said, a lot of people don't even know the trial is going on. So yeah, shout out to her, the plaintiff, Jane. And the Pioneer says, are things as bad with R. Kelly as the media is portraying? I have no idea. My question is, if he was so bad, why didn't the Black community and especially Black men go after him first? Well, Pioneer, unfortunately in our community, we have that ideology of we're going to sweep it under the rug. Them girls are fast. They shouldn't be all up and around grown men. It's nothing new in our community. I'm not sure why Black men didn't go after him. I know back in the day, they used to hold men accountable who were preying on young girls and things like that. But listen, I don't want to minimize what R. Kelly is being charged of as to say he's innocent. I'm not saying that at all. If you want to really ask me right off the cuff, I don't think R. Kelly is innocent. But I think that the truth should be told regardless of what it is. And one who cares, you say hello and happy Sunday to Demetra and Donovan. Hello to you. And Frank, what's going on if I didn't already? And Chocolate Girl, how you doing? And Michi, you say they need to be accurate and truthful. Yeah, regardless of what the truth is, they need to tell the truth. And let's see here. And Sunlight says, Dream Hampton, where is she? Yeah, she's the one did she produce the documentary, Surviving R. Kelly? Where is she? Why isn't she in the courtroom giving us a blow by blow of what's going on, especially when the girls are admitting that I wasn't forced and, we showed fake IDs and that kind of stuff.
Well, better yet, a $15 million pay raise for Gayle King. Where is she at? Why isn't she covering this case?
Yeah, and Oprah, where are they at? All these people who was, hitting it out the park, calling him, all kind of things. Where are they at? And Frank says they went after him when his money was gone. Yeah, they say R. Kelly is really broke. And Tisha, you say, FYI, you can order the transcript if you're media, quote unquote. It can be expensive though. Okay, well, that's good to know. Now, how expensive are we talking?
Well, the thing is, remember that this is a public trial. It's not expensive if you order it on DVD, which they have to produce. You just got to go in there, make a file request or make a request. And you can get it on DVD. If you're one of those people that can afford to 13 cents a page, go ahead. It might be thousands of pages, but yeah, just order the DVD, probably like $2-3, and then print out what you need off of the DVD.
Well, she's actually a stenographer in New York, so she probably has best information as to actually how to go about getting it. If you don't mind, Tisha, sharing that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I'm saying when it's like a bunch of papers, when it comes to government entities, yeah, they're going to charge you. And that's a way to get it, but I'm very sure you can get it on DVD as well.
Yeah, and ain't no telling how many pages there are to that by now. And Aaron, how you doing? And thank you, Frank, for the compliment. I appreciate it. Hello, Thunder. How you doing? And that guy from Texas, he says Trump was right when he said the media is the enemy of the people. Yeah, but that wasn't an original thought of Trump. Malcolm X told us the same thing many years ago. But yes, the mainstream media is not the friend of Black people, especially.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with that. Now, the mainstream media, you got to remember, in this country, there used to be all kinds of different media outlets which really kept us informed. How many families control the 6 major outlets in the United States that are left? There's only 6 families that control that. So if they're filthy rich, what kind of narrative do you think that they're going to spin in their benefit and their benefactors' benefit? That's the problem.
Hey, Art, how you doing? And Donovan said the bigger lie, the more people will believe it. Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, and Roland is a Democratic shill. Shill. Yes, he is. He is that guy. Okay, not the guy from Texas, but he is that guy. And that guy from Texas says Uncle Roro. Exactly. And you also say he married Aaliyah at 15. Disgusting. And that he did, because it sounds like the man that wedded them, if you will, that married them, he showed up and testified that he did do that. So I'm not defending R. Kelly at all. Please do not mistake me in doing that. I am actually defending the right for the truth, the real truth to come out, if you will. Does that make any sense? And tonight, what's going on with you? Says, hey, Demetra and Donovan, I'm working like crazy, but still watching after the live. That emerald green looks good on you. Oh, thank you. You know what? This is a regular old like $3 t-shirt. It's a V-neck. I turn it backwards and I drop it off the shoulder and bam, there you go. It's a look, right? And Sunlight says, I heard Roland Martin ask the feds to investigate McDonald's manufacturing ice cream machines. Are you serious? Because I heard something about somebody was supposed to be investigating the machines, because you know the machines are always broken. That is so crazy. Eli, you say something like I have school on September. Okay, so y'all are replying. And the pioneer said, Donovan, you're absolutely correct that the Constitution is the supreme quote unquote law of the land, and then federal laws, state laws, and local laws. However, that doesn't stop the local cops from breaking it. Always.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. When you know that, if they do break that law and you let them know that they are obstructing your constitutionally protected rights, then their qualified immunity is immediately gone, because you've just now informed them of that. And they can pick up their phones and Google it. So a lot of people now are, and it's so sad that across the nation, the law enforcement, all they are trained to do is arrest. They don't know their basic forms of arrest. They think because they got a badge, they can tell you what to do. But when you know your rights and you know how it goes and you take it to court, unfortunately, a lot of us, because we lack wealth and money, we don't have the resources to do that. But again, if you take it to court, they automatically lose their qualified immunity.
Yes, indeed. And Olivia says they're not allowing anyone inside the court. The press is allowed in the building and only allowed to watch on a TV screen. No electronics allowed. Okay, so they got to do it old school, right? Old school reporting. One who cares.
That's why you see those messed up drawings. It's kind of messed up.
Right. And one who cares says exactly 100, Donovan. And the teacher says, I thought diva had to do with the opera. Yeah, I know that it has something to do with the opera, but as far as the definition, so maybe a diva is an opera singer. I don't know. I don't know how it got down to us commoners, you know, calling ourselves diva, but, you know. And Michi, you say, what's up, you beautiful people, bringing the real, like always. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And thank you, BFF. And Antoine says, hello, Queen Demetra, Brother Dominant, and Room Black First. Yes, indeed. And hello to you. And hey, April, he says, what's up, my peeps? And, and then that guy from Texas says he married Aaliyah when she was 15. Who signed the marriage license? Sounds like she had a fake ID or something like that. Fake ID, and they got a marriage license somewhere, and that's how they ended up getting married. But she was 15 nevertheless. The Pioneer says, gotta put the Malcolm X glasses on and break down the meaning of diva. Laugh out loud, the word diva comes from the same roots as devil. Dev, which is an ancient Sanskrit word. Okay, well, I mean, come on with the knowledge. So a lot of people, well, maybe that's why a lot of these women that call themselves divas act like devils. I don't know. I'm a diva. One who cares says Oakland and Stale King are not fair to their own people when interviewing them. No, they try to do these gotcha moments, you know, like the one where Gayle King interviewed R. Kelly and she had him all round up.
Robert.
Yeah, you know, and they praised her for remaining cool, as if he was gonna jump on her or something. Like,
but yet they are silent about their good buddy Harvey Weinstein. You can't get them to speak on him or speak anything negative towards Master White Man.
and Rose McGowan, you know, the actress or whatever that claimed that she was sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein, she called Oprah out a couple of days ago. Was like, I'm glad people are starting to wake up to Oprah's role in this. You know, she's good buddies, or she was at the time, with Harvey Weinstein and all of that. Yeah, well, she's saying she's not, but
wait, check his books. Oprah put all kinds of money on his books. No, I'm joking, but I don't know.
You know damn well. But yeah, that was her homeboy. You know, her and all of them, Gail, Oprah, Whoopi, Alba DuVernay. You know, all of them. They and even Alba got caught up. She had an old tweet from like 2010 or 4 or something like that, where she was basically saying how much she loved Harvey, you know, and how she looked up to him.
Zaddy. Yeah, she loves her Jewish daddy.
Well, you know, I don't know about all that, but so she wrote a tweet, but it's like, but you're the same person that makes these documentaries seeking justice for Black people, but you won't even go after, you know, make a documentary about your homeboy, the man you look up to so much, Harvey Weinstein. I don't know. I can't make sense of it. Hello, Dewan. How you doing? And the Pioneer says, let's be real about this. The real reason we don't have a powerful national media as Black people today is primarily because of selfishness and laziness. Bob Johnson had BET and sold it for money. Well, the other thing, too, is, you know, Dr. Claude Anderson always talks about how we as Black people own less than 3% of the media. So we don't really have a big lock on mainstream media, if you will. And to your point, the media outlets that we do have are hacked, like BET. They're sold off, or they just kind of are not conducive to Black thought. It's just Black, I call it night quail for Negroes. You know, it's to put us to sleep, right? And
Demetra, tell them what happened to the second oldest Black publication in the United States.
Oh, the Voice, the Black Voice. I mean, it's still around, but it's not the glory that it used to be. I mean, the owner of it, she sold out for money, you know, and did all kind of harmful things to people in her district when she became a congresswoman for money. So,
she a state representative, and you know, it was called The Black Voice was the newspaper. She got in bed with politics and the white establishment. Then all of a sudden, the Black Voice became The Voice.
Right.
And I pointed her out, helped her get her ass up out of there, and they are still looking for me to this very day.
And Bro Family saying, how you doing, by the way, says, I don't believe none of them. R. Kelly is an avatar. All part of the satanic elite agenda. Ain't this what they did to Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson? Well, they tried to do it to Bill Cosby and definitely tried to do it to Michael Jackson. I think, unfortunately, for R. Kelly, there's a little bit more evidence against him. And listen, I love R. Kelly's music. Used to love R. Kelly as well. I believe he made a big mistake in doing some of the things that he did, but I didn't need a documentary from Lifetime to tell me those things. I already knew those things. But Atisha, you say, I don't, it's being videotaped. You have to contact the court reporter for the minutes. Daily minutes can range in price. You have to contact the reporter for those rates. Okay, cool. And Avery say, cute. I think you talked about my shirt. Thank you. Pioneer says, BET should be covering the trial and a host of others like George Floyd murder trial. Instead, our community have to rely on second, third, and fourth hand sources just to find out what's happening. I agree, and we just believe it, right? But there's people who are there and getting firsthand information like, nah, that's not exactly, you know, how it's going down. And hey, Moni, how you doing? He says, happy Sunday, both Demetra and Donovan. Much Detroit love to you always. Demetra, I sent you some videos. Did you get them? Not yet. I did not get them yet. But try to send them again at Demetra Kaye at gmail.com. Demetra Kaye at gmail.com. Tisha, he says it's public, but the transcript is not free. R. Kelly's lawyers requested free transcripts because he couldn't afford to pay for the daily copies. Well, damn. So, I mean, I know R. Kelly's having some financial issues, but that goes to show you how expensive they are, that, you know, he can't afford to pay for the daily copies. That's deep. And let's see here. And Felicia, how you doing? He says, greetings from a Caribbean brother residing in the Netherlands. So I can't pronounce your first name, so I said Felicia, but you say a brother. So how you doing? How you say Ru Vince? I know I messed that up. I'll call you RF from now on. How about that? The teacher says federal court is more streamlined than state court. Okay, and then Terry, you say that's very true. A police officer robbed my son of about $3,000 2 years ago. I helped my son sue the officer, and we sued the officer, not the department. He returned the money before we went to court. I know that's right. He didn't want all his business out there, right?
And you guys, you can get a body cam off Amazon or eBay for a good one that's almost police. You get the police for like $200, but you can get a very good body cam for like $15, $20, and or a dash cam on your car. I mean, as a black person, I do not see how people are out here with these cops doing what they're doing. When you have and they know they're being recorded, oh my God, because they're recording, they know they can manipulate that. They know they can manipulate their recording because their boy's going to take care of it back in the editing room at the station. But when you have a recording, the way they talk to you, the way they act is totally different than if they weren't recorded. So I'm going to strongly recommend a lot of people get a form of a body cam or a dash cam so that you can protect yourself, because that's the whole thing. A video camera it can't lie. It is what it is. And this is going to be your qualified immunity, which breaks them down. No police union is going to back a police officer that is outright out of control.
Yes, indeed. And you're welcome, RF. He says, thanks for all the information. And Olivia says, yes, Donovan, laugh out loud. That artist must be half blind because those drawings are really horrible. I put one of them up on the thumbnail. And Terry says he tried to bully him to settle for half day before court. He wrote a check for the entire amount to the last dollar. I know that's right.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, we just got to know our rights. And that's the thing. We're so reliant on what grandma said, and y'all just be pliant, y'all just don't cause too much trouble, whatever, or we're just so resigned to being treated badly. We are like in a bad relationship, an abusive relationship with society. It's just really, really sad. A good example, before we came on air, I was telling Demetra, I was talking to my mom, and she was saying, well, why are you going to these countries doing a COVID, right? I love my mom to death. But she doesn't realize there are more numbers of COVID incidents here in the United States than anywhere in the world. I would be safer in another country than I am in the United States. Thus, it goes back to what I was saying Friday. As a whole, and I don't mean like everybody, we are woefully ignorant of certain things.
Absolutely. And the pioneer says, Brother Don, are you telling me that if you bring up a constitutionally guaranteed right to a cop and he still arrests you against it, you should win your court case? That sounds a little Moorish.
Yes. Of course, you're not going to go in there and represent yourself. You better get a lawyer, and you better have some evidence, because at that point it would be he say versus she say. But when you inform the officer, and it is a federal law, when you inform an officer that he is obstructing your constitutionally protected rights, and you are formed to correct, like being on a sidewalk and taking pictures of a federal building or whatever, he automatically loses his qualified immunity, because he should know that. That's the First Amendment of the Constitution.
I think what Pioneer is going with that is, yeah, right. How does that work? How does that work out for a lot of people that didn't even, get
a lot of people that
invoke the Constitution?
Yeah, a lot of people don't have the resources to get it. But I've sat in court and I've seen it happen if you've got the resources. I'm not going to sit there and argue law, and I'm not a lawyer. You know what I mean? So it does happen. I mean, you can look at some of the YouTube videos where these auditors are doing that.
Marty says, Demetra, I kind of like Brother Philip Scott said, qualified immunity should be removed anyway from these low lights that will not do nothing with a badge. It's really contradictory. You got time to harass black people. Yes, it should be removed automatically. Like if you mow down black people, or anybody for that matter, but especially black people, yeah, you should have to face the consequences. You shouldn't get qualified immunity to do that. And that guy from Texas said, that's right, Donovan. The police enforce the law. They don't interpret the law. But we know as black people, they are the judge, jury, and executioner. They just are. They're not supposed to be, but they are.
Yeah, you have to be smart when dealing with the police. Like I said, you got a guy with a bunch of guns. I would just go ahead and go through the process, and then let the judicial system and get yourself a lawyer deal with it.
Well, I say that is very true. You should comply. but I think it kind of is a slap in the face to people like Philando Castile, who did not even have an opportunity, or Tamir Rice, or people like that didn't have an opportunity.
That guy Wilson that died after George Floyd.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people, who just, when we say, oh, comply and do everything, that's true. And I don't know, maybe a lot of cases, but then there's a lot of cases it's not true. There is no such thing as just comply and you won't die type of thing, right?
Well, I'm saying if you don't know what you're doing, you take your chances. I mean, these guys, isn't it crazy how the cop that has the guns and all the tools, they're the ones that are always worried about their safety, but they got the guns.
Well, because they get away with it, like you said, with it, qualified immunity, they get away with it, so they get a little bit more trigger happy. And April says, I'm trying to tell you, it's mighty quiet. Yes, it is. Where's all those people? And Avery, how you doing? He says there are some of us in Black society in particular, who still jam his music at home with their own children. Anybody who still supports him by listening, I have to look at them suspiciously. Well, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like to each his own. Anybody who wants to listen to R. Kelly's music, I think that's their right to do that. I don't think by you listen to his music, now some of his music now, I will say is a lot suspect. But I mean, I don't think the onus is on the people listening to the music. I think the onus is on R. Kelly.
Yeah, and let me add to that, Avery. You do realize R. Kelly produced and wrote a lot of songs for a lot of artists. So you might be listening to a song, even though you don't hear R. Kelly's voice, it might be R. Kelly's song.
Yeah, and there's a lot of music that, even just recently, he's got producer's credit on Drake's new album. So, hey, Sydney, how you doing? I'm glad you found the time to join us today. And I hope you're staying safe out there. I know you still smack dab in the middle of it. And you say the truth was written by the Chicago Sun-Times in 2000. I haven't paid attention to the trial, but if the trial is like the documentary, then it is light. Yeah, well, I'm with you. I mean, I actually know people who know R. Kelly, and they, said, yeah, he had a propensity to, be around young girls and go to the high school and that kind of stuff. But none of this is anything new to me. I've actually read up on it years and years ago as well. So,
but the thing is, in our community, like you said, it's nothing new. You mean to tell me this man goes back to his high school, the teachers, everybody sees him, all these girls are getting in his car, whatever the deal is, and nobody's saying anything? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, and even right now, I know some of you know young girls in your neighborhood that are pregnant. She might be 16, the age of consent, but the father might be 24. He might be 23. And we say absolutely nothing.
Yep. And Frank, you say Donovan dope. And Cindy says that New York City is not paying alternation. They're not paying. Okay, I don't know what that is. And Sunlight says, and thank you, Marcus. If you guys are on Facebook, any of the groups, and you're watching this live, click on the link if you'd like us to read your comment. And Sunlight says, how is his music equated to supporting him? Yeah, I don't really get that either. I mean, I don't know. Y'all tell me. Hey, Vicky, how you doing? And Laughing Stock, how you doing? He says diva means, I lost my place. Let me catch up to these comments really quick so I won't be so far behind. I appreciate you guys' patience as well. I'm going to catch up. Yeah. All right, it says, literally means goddess in Latin. So yeah, I knew it meant something like a queen or a goddess or something. Thank you that. And
it's a different meaning in the Black community.
You stupid. And Jay Fire, how you doing? He says, looking mighty with the fro eye. Thank you for that. And Frank, you say Bob Johnson was dumb for that, for selling BET. And Moni says, Demetra, are you saying that you never could sit at yourself? I think you may consider yourself a gorgeous red diva to the ultimate high. That means spontaneous, intelligent, articulate, fun, but don't take any crap. I mean, I guess I could if you put it that way. Sunlight says, a person can listen to the music that has absolutely nothing to do with supporting R. Kelly as a person. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And Vaughn, how you doing? He says, hello, Demetra, Donovan, and Black First Family. What happened to Matt Lauer and Kevin Spacey? Why aren't they on trial? Well, from what I understand, too, Kevin Spacey is supposed to be in a new movie coming up soon. And, he was like one of the first stars to be Me Too, said he sexually assaulted a guy when he was a minor on a set of a movie or something. But yeah, he's supposed to be coming back.
Yeah, and the thing is with the Kevin Spacey one in particular, the case was dropped. The rumor is, you know, they of course they do the Trump thing and they try to extend the case so people forget it and all that other stuff. But the rumor is they gave them enough time that the person was bought off, or, you know, kind of like in the first R. Kelly case where the family was sent to Europe for like a year, you know, and so the case got dropped because if you don't have a victim, you don't have a case.
And Moni, I just got your email. I'll check it out as soon as I'm off the show. And thank you. And Frank said the producer of Love and Hip Hop is a Haitian woman. They use people from overseas that look like us to undermine us. Okay, he says BET is Jewish owned. And Sunlight says, why should BET be covering the trial? Well, I guess people feel like it serves Black people, but it's not owned by Black people. So there you go, right? And hey, Anna, how you doing? Jonelle says, if you're free, you don't think and do as the slave. We need a liberated mind. Just the fact that Black media is limited and suppressed only bears witness to the hand that regulate our vision. Yes, indeed. Pioneer says, don't be like some of these Moors who got brothers quoting scriptures and the Constitution while a bunch of red-faced cops are busting out the car windows and barking out orders for them to get out. I totally agree. And Terry, you say, I have one of on my car mirror. It's a completely different experience. I wasn't there when he was robbed, though. Hi, Harold. How you doing? He says Black first. Yes, indeed. And RF, he says it's pronounced Rovinci. Did I get it right? Rovinci. Okay. He says, but Rove is Ruve is okay. So Rovinci. I'm gonna try to remember that. But thank you so much for helping me out. And Thunder says, as far as I'm concerned, for news that is important to the community, I come to New Black Media just to question how much would a news van cost? Probably quite a bit. I mean, the van and all the equipment to go in is probably quite a bit, I would imagine. And Jonelle says, you're not free without a free Black press, quote the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. Absolutely, because you know, everybody else is going to tell a different story. And Anastasia, how you doing? He says, salutations, love. And I forgot already, but Rove, he say hi. I forgot already. Rovinci. I'm going to get it. And Moni says, Demetra, your email. Yes, I got the email. Thank you. And Pioneer says, laugh out loud, Moorish like. I like the way the queen did her eyes. She understood what I was saying. Yeah, I got what you were saying, because a lot of times, we give people information, which Donovan is correct, but it's not the information that's going to save Black life. If a police officer is hell-bent on doing something to you, I don't care if you get Jesus to come down with you and to recite the Constitution in unison. There's nothing's going to save you from a cop that already has it in his mind that he needs to do something to you. So, I mean, it's just the way it is. And Gotten, how are you doing? He said, what's up? Hashtag for the culture, hashtag for the nation. Yes, indeed. And Eli, you say, are you replying to Sunlight? And Pam is jamming, how you doing? And Eli, you're replying to Sunlight again. And Gotten says, we are the Alcambrulan people, hashtag for the culture. I know I messed that up, but we have to figure out what that is. And Moni says, naturally, you can expect those as in the demonic circle to turn on one another because they take the blood of to stay in power. I don't like the children have to be exploited, and young women and young men. Absolutely. And Terry says, people tried to tell my son to just walk away. It was his insurance settlement from a car accident. He had the receipts. They ignored everything except the lawsuit. And police officers steal from people all the time. It's not a secret, right? It's just what they do.
And you guys remember this, when let's say you're in a lawsuit against the police department, and you know, of course, they're going to be covered by their union. That this is why the qualified immunity needs to be changed. Maybe they need to change to where you can sue the union, because the problem is the union. And their money that they put in the pensions and stuff. Once you bankrupt the union, the police are like everyday people. So you got to remember, when you sue the police department, you're suing yourself. That's your dollars that you're giving to somebody because this police officer is out of control. That's the problem.
And Michi says, dang, I'm back. Spring was frozen. Well, we're glad you are back. And Pioneer says, Neely Fuller Jr. gives good advice for Black males who come into negative contact with the police. Don't fuss, don't fight, and don't flee. Every circumstance is different, but you try to stay safe. Yeah, you know, fight it out in court if you get that far with them, right? Don't try to be right, you know, right there. And Ciela Trey, how you doing? He says he has not been convicted. So I know a lot of people in the shed are talking like this if he's already convicted, as if he's already convicted. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you know, in the court of public opinion, Sheila Trey, I think that, you know, people have convicted him, but like you said, he's in it. Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? It's like when you're black, you're guilty until you can prove your innocence. Wasn't there a story of a guy in Rikers Island that they're saying this guy was in there for 4 years?
Browder.
No. He was in there for 4 years. It wasn't the Prouder case. Before they even brought him to trial. I mean, it was like he had to wait there for because he couldn't bail out. It isn't the Trotter one. It was another one. But a lot of people are in that situation to where they have to sit in jail for 2, 3, 4 years before they even be brought to trial.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. And I know Sean King is actually fighting for a brother that's been in jail, I think in Texas, if I'm not mistaken, for 8 years, has not been charged or brought to court. So there's a lot of people, especially our people, that are just stuck in the system. And Khalid Browder is one of the most famous ones, you know, young brother that was in Rikers Island for 3 years without being taken to court or anything, behind being accused of stealing a backpack, which turned out that he did not do it. So horrible situation. And Terry says, then look at me suspiciously. No one will be controlling anything in my house, which is my castle. That's where I have to draw the line. Laugh out loud. And I'm not mad at you for that. And Thunder says the news company WION did a broadcast about the COVID-19 in the U.S. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. I actually like that. I'm gonna start using that in the U.S. and how it's out of control. And the U.S. media is saying nothing about it. But the U.S. media was showing all of the people dying in India, right? Because
we're the United States. We're the best everything. Everybody should be speaking English. Everybody should be doing everything the American way. And this is the problem. Why is it that people that have never traveled outside the United States is telling people who live outside the United States how they should live? Makes no sense.
And Nietzsche says, I'm on Donovan's page now. Okay. And then Eli said, I was born in Canada, but I have lived in the U.S. for 6 years now. I live back in Canada.
Yes. Go back. Go back. Don't come here, please.
And Terry says, I swear everyone stay trying to enter folks' home, giving them rules. This is where I run to where the world gets ugly.
Right. Well, let me say this real quick. Terry, you're absolutely correct. I had 4 armed police officers come to my house was it 2 months ago, Demetra? Maybe a month and a half ago. And they're trying to direct me. Here's the deal. The police officer can only come to your house if they have a warrant. And they know that, or at least they should know that. But you guys should know that. When you arbitrarily give them access to your houses, which is what they rely on. Oh, it's a welfare check. Don't let these people in your house. They've got to have some paperwork to show you from a judge. If not, when they go through your house and you have that little weed sitting there on your thing in your own person, they can charge you with the crime. You can have 12 dead bodies in your house. Without a warrant, do not let them in your house. I had these guys try to tell me what to do. He's talking about I did a crime and I did this, even though I had a burn permit. Didn't even ask me if I had a permit correctly. I said, get off my property, go sit on the sidewalk. They refused to do so. They said, we're going to come in and get you. I said, come on in, because it's going to be a bad day in California if you do. They ended up leaving because they knew they did not have a warrant.
And Frank says, Pioneer Neely Fuller is a beast. Yes, he is. Everybody should really study up on him. And Tisha, I'll look and see after the show. You said you inbox me or when I get a chance. And Gotten says, R. Kelly in high school. Wow. Yes, it's not a secret. And Gerard, how you doing? He says, and we have Lamont Hill saying D. Roof shouldn't get the death penalty, or Dylan Roof shouldn't get the death penalty while representing us on a black news channel, quote unquote, owned by a Pakistani billionaire. The new black first media is so important.
Gerard
yes,
Parker,
it is.
Gerard Parker, could I give him a hug?
Stop it.
Can I give him a hug, Demetra?
And Terry said, every Boondocks talked about it. We all knew what R. Kelly was. Remember that one with the golden shower, quote unquote, wasn't she 14? Yes. And Sydney, you say attention and do tell. And I'm going to try to catch up to these comments so I can be a little bit more timely. And Gotten says, Boondocks did an episode on R. Kelly. Yes, it did. Yes, they did. Very poignant, might I add. And Donovan says, go buy body cams for your children and yourselves. The cops hate being recorded. And Pioneer says, Lamarck Hill is a stuttering clown. It sounds like Tavis Smiley was his mentor. stuttering, interrupting his guest, and not getting to the point he's trying to make. Yes, that is very annoying. Very. And Donovan says, I love the way you guys are conversing. Yes, indeed. And Jim's, how you doing? He says, Jim's from Kanye Brown's live stream. He says the people in Kevin Spacey's case turned up dead allegedly. Wow. Do tell. I see you, Gotten. He said, I see what you're saying about Kevin. Kevin Spacey, that is. And Sunlight says Kevin Spacey took care of his victims. Yes, he did. And Gotten said, okay, I got you. So many things I will not read. But I see him nevertheless. And Jonelle says they swept Charlie Sheen under the rug. Yes, he got Man of the Year or something like that even. And somebody said Kevin Spacey's victim was killed. And Tisha, you said I can't laugh out loud. And Gotti says BET is under white supremacy. Yes, it is. And Thunder said there's a black-owned company that makes bulletproof clothing. Just imagine if they unjustly shoot you and you survive to tell your case to the judge. I think every black person should have one and a camera. Isn't that a shame? You got to walk around now with a bulletproof vest. And yes, you guys, please like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. I guess liking the video gets the algorithms up or something like that. I don't know how to figure it out. And Gotten says the Moorish queen. He says, great, my Nubian queen. And Moni says, Donovan, I will say that in some cases, if an officer knows that you're recording by phone, they will try to knock the phone out of your hand. It's best to invest in body cam as you invest in body cam is better. And Gotten says it's okay to mean Moorish dark people. Okay. And Moni says, Donovan, I see in the case here in Detroit, and Demetra, I'm going to send you some news clippings of it. A gentleman was brutally stabbed. Though he lived, he is now having drug dealers take over his place. Oh, no. Tawana says, the music industry is full of sexual predators and deviants. If you want to stop listening to R. Kelly's music, then you should stop listening to all music, including gospel music. You better preach.
Yes, and R. Kelly wrote for gospel artists as well, so you don't know what you're listening to.
Yep, and Pioneer says, I think we need to take a multi-solution approach where we use cameras for our interactions, be respectful and courteous, and know the law, and tell them while trying to stay safe and make it to court. Absolutely. I just try to make it out alive at this point, right? And you guys, just so you know, I'm not reading the replies. You guys are replying to each other just to save on time. And Moni says, and the police will not do nothing to stop these drug dealers from selling right across the hall from my cousins, keeping us all times of the night and day. I think even up all times of the night and the day. And it's just terrible. Nothing done about it.
And Moni, you want to know why they're doing that? It's to gentrify your area. They're going to make it so bad to where you leave and you take your family or whatever, you want to leave the neighborhood, and that way they get the pennies on the dollar. That is part of gentrification. They're using the police department to let the neighborhood go so bad. And you know, some of these officers make over $100,000 a year to not do their jobs, and we're paying it.
Yes, and Gotten says, Yakub, the big scientist, y'all heard of him? Yes, indeed. My daddy's FOY since the age of 19. He's 77 years old, so yes, I do. I do. And so the Pioneer says, I'm sure there are a lot of people who have to sit in jail for years waiting on trial. The Constitution guarantees the right to a speedy trial, but the trick is they don't define the word speedy, quote unquote. Exactly.
You know, and the funny thing is that after waiting there 8 years, the DA, who's long gone by then, is probably a congressman or a senator, has dropped the case.
And Marty says, Demetra, until it's in these people's neighborhoods, they can care less. My little cousin have to deal with drug dealers selling in our apartment building right across from her, yet the landlord evict you if you tell. Yeah, because the landlord is probably getting the kickback, you know. And the Pioneer says, in my opinion, the speedy quote-unquote trial is less than 2 weeks, except for certain violent crimes. The time for arrest verdict should be less than 1 month. Yeah, but we know that ain't the case, right? And Frank says, I've had undercovers come to my house before. And Eli, so you're finding sunlight. And IE says, bulletproof hoodies on sale. Get one. I mean, it's not a bad idea. The Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, the police in California tend to be racist and hard on black folks. Why did you and other black folks continue to stay in that state? It's a lot.
Lost cause. Well, the thing is, you're absolutely right. You know, but here's the sad thing: most white people aren't police officers anymore. It's Hispanics now. So the Hispanics are the racist ones, and there's not a lot of black people. So a lot of black people have left because you can't afford to live here. I'm one of the few people that can actually stay and do what I do. So.
Yes, indeed. Let me see here. My comments. Okay, so I'm not really that far behind anymore. All right, and so um, bringing it back. How you doing? He says walking around with your own damn camera crew and bulletproof vest. Yeah, shaking my head. I'm with you. Like you really got to do all of that. Might as well just stay in the house. You know what I mean?
Well, and then again, you got to remember there's a Big Brother watching you all the time. So if you're someplace and you know that there's a camera there, you can FOIA that information on that camera in your court case.
And Terry says they hate that, Donovan. I'm in Mayberry. When I was new here, police claimed the fugitive they were chasing ran in my house. Laugh out loud. They saw quote unquote him run in my house, but they need my permission. Yeah, okay, right. And a lot of people don't, know that. I don't care who ran up at him. You still need my permission to come after him.
Yeah, the Constitution says you have every right to be. And don't quote me. This ain't paraphrasing. To be secure in your person. That also means secure in your home.
Right. And Mona says, Donovan, I have been making sure all of this year from last year as well that I record everything that I interact with when dealing with certain businesses, because a lot of these people, you can catch them lying. Yep. And I says gospel music is perverted too. I mean, yeah, some of it sounds like some, pretty freaky deaky stuff if you listen to it, right? And Terry says, I have no idea when I last heard about any of us being innocent until proven guilty. A young brother committed suicide after being incarcerated and abused something like for 2 years. So I think I know that was the case with Khalid Browder. He was in there for 3 years and he was abused, in every way, shape, and form. And eventually, about a year or so later, give or take, he ended up committing suicide due to not being able to handle what he had been through. So. And Jonelle says, now we need a third jab to fully be secure. If you survive the first and second one, well, 3 strikes you out.
I don't mean to laugh, but that is a damn good analogy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, at your own discretion, right? And the Pioneer says, instead of constantly being on the defensive, we also need proactive solutions. More of us need to become cops, judges, prosecutors, DAs, sheriffs, and lawmakers in Congress and the state Senate. And we need to be the ones that's actually going to be there on behalf of Black people, not the ones that sell out, buy in.
Well, Pioneer, we have DAs, sheriffs, and lawmakers. We've had people that are chiefs of police in major cities and been there for years, and yet nothing has changed. And matter of fact, we have a CBC that's been there since 1973, 53 members, and yet nothing gets done. So
we need the right ones.
Yeah, we need the right ones. It's almost a catch-22 at this point.
Barney says, I noticed that many folks are trying to say that when you record is illegal. That's when they know that they're in the wrong, mostly in the Caucasian or literate few Blacks in businesses. What do you do? Well, in the private sectors, yeah, you do have to have permission to do that. But in public, you do not.
There is no expectation of privacy in public. And then if you're using it for commercial purposes is like if you are doing a movie, if you're going to get monetary gain from it. That is where the problem is. But if you're in public, there's nothing they can do. People don't like me recording their kids, right? Let's say kids on the playground. You might not like it, but there's nothing you can do about
it. And when you say, Moni, Demetra, for every time a person downloads R. Kelly's music, he's getting millions. If you stop supporting him, that stops the money flow. That's what people are meaning. Personally, I would not buy anything. Can I ask y'all a question? I'm going to ask y'all a question. Because, I've been likening what I see now in society and on the internet and all of that to a gladiator society. Y'all watch gladiator movies, Gladiator, where the king or whoever, let's say the king is us on the internet, us onlookers, and some of us are keyboard warriors, right? Let's say we are the king or the emperor, if you will. And when the person that's getting eaten or by the lion or finished by the other gladiator, he goes, that's what we've become in the society. And I say all of that to say, yeah, R. Kelly is a horrible human being. He should be held accountable for everything that he is guilty of. And I'm not, again, because I know a lot of idiots, and I hate to call people names. I'm not talking to none of y'all. A lot of idiots get mad at me because they don't listen to everything I'm saying. I've never once said that R. Kelly is innocent, and I'm not saying it now. But what I firmly don't believe in is that we should just completely finish a person. I mean, R. Kelly has the right to defend himself. And let's say he is getting money from the streaming service. That money is going to help him defend himself, right? So, like, why are we always in a situation we want to see a person just deduced down to nothing? And a lot of times it's Christians who are supposed to adhere to this we forgive society. I'm not saying all things. I don't believe everything is forgivable. You know, I'm not a Christian either, though, but I don't believe all things are forgivable. But we are in a society where we just feel like a person is not able to be redeemed, or they should not feed themselves, and, you know, all of that. I mean, yeah, don't go to his concerts, you know, if he's freed or whatever the case is, but to completely trying to snuff the man out, I don't know. I just can't get on board with that, if that makes any sense. All right. So Sunlight says R. Kelly does not own any of his music, which is true. And I'm almost caught up here, you guys. And let's see here. And Eli, you say you were cleaning behind the sunlight. And Marcus, you said, and how you doing? He says, we can always leave, believe it or not. Leaving is not running, it's surviving. Yeah, leaving, going to Africa. Sunlight if it says if he was getting millions, he would have bailed himself out of jail initially. He was broke, he has been broke. Yeah, he's been, you know, as teachers say, he can't even afford the daily transcript. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to remember, though, also, when you're a celebrity like that, just like when MC Hammer went broke, he's not broke by our standards. He's broke by the rich standard. You know,
no, he's broke.
No, yeah. But what I'm saying in general, when we think of rich and broke, it's a different kind of break. You know what I mean?
No, he's broke. He can't even afford to buy his suit. So he has no money.
Right. Yeah. No. And R. Kelly. Yeah. We know. But I'm just saying in general, most celebrities, we're always thinking, you know, like us. You know, like right.
Now, yeah, but he's broke.
Yeah, like MC Hammer, that mansion he had, he got rid of that mansion, but he can still afford a $400,000 house. You know?
Right. Sunlight says the Black Authority did the complete rundown of R. Kelly years ago, right? So, I mean, I'm not sure what he said, but a lot of people are already in the know. But Terry says one of the exceptions to the Fourth Amendment is if they actually saw this fugitive, quote unquote, run into my house, they actually would be excused to run into my house behind them. They thought I didn't know. So there you go for knowing the law, right? Sunlight said he was living in a studio and a month behind rent on it, about to get evicted when he got arrested. Yep. And Robin, if I didn't already say hello, he said R. Kelly is innocent until proven guilty. In my opinion, there's a whole lot of people that needs to be on trial with him, but nobody seems to not want to have that conversation. But I digress. Yeah, I mean, they just I'm with you. They're letting a lot of people off the hook. Pioneer says, I agree with you too that we need the right Black folks in office. I believe Black people in office have made some inroads since the 1960s. We aren't as segregated in schools and housing as we were, or are we?
Yay! We get to live next to white folks. Yay! Progress.
And Robin, you say, so if a person wants to listen to his music, there's no crime in that. I agree with you. And Terry says, we also need to know the law library. Too many of us are using technically, if right, quote unquote, or if this, then, quote unquote. And that's not how the law works. I went up against my DA and won multiple times and won. Absolutely. And Marcus says, quiet is kept. We can always leave, but believe it or not leaving is a real option. And before you say my ancestors BS, you are not running, leaving is survivor, not running. Well, you know, we better hurry up and get over there, because even Moni, you are sending me a lot of emails. I mean, even in Africa, there's a lot of places we won't be able to go because the colonizers and the Asians, they over there taking over now. So we better hurry up.
Yeah, a lot of the Black leaders over there are leasing stuff to China and Korea and all these places for like 99 years, 100-year leases.
And Rashad, how you doing since you're right and bringing it back and bringing it black? I should say I said back before, bringing it black. So speaking of, we need to pull up the virtual conference the Congressional Black Caucus has going on September 12th and 16th. It's a good idea. And Robin says, exactly, Demetra. And only see him, how you doing? He said, what he allegedly did is not forgivable. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That is not forgivable. I'm not saying it should be forgiven for that at all. Please do not mistake me in saying that. Eli, okay, you find the Sunlight. I keep, and Sunlight says, Donovan, Sony owns it now, a lot of it, and they are profiting still after they supposedly released him not just the money. Typical, yeah. And a lot of those record executives, what I understand, took and abusing some of the victims as well. And bringing it black, he says he broke. Exactly, no money. The dude is broke. He broke like us, broke. I mean, not to speak that on us, but I'm just saying. And somebody saying he's broke. And the Pioneer says broke. Is he Donald Trump broke? Let's see here. He said that type of broke that allows you to declare bankruptcy every 10 years, but still have money to buy mansions, go on trips, and throw big wedding parties. That allowed. No, he's broke for real, like no money.
Yeah, and isn't it funny, under Donald Trump, the bankruptcy laws were changed that you have to now keep the debt. If you don't make a certain amount of money, if you're not a millionaire or whatever, you have to keep your debt.
And Penelope, how you doing? Says, Barry Hankerson and all of the folks that work with R. Kelly should go to jail too. They knew what was going on and even was doing some of the stuff with them, from what I understand. And Thunder says, we have to stop being afraid to defend ourselves. Self-defense is common sense. Yes, indeed. It's like do or die, right? Somebody said, no, he said, no, he's broke like Willie on the corner broke, right? And Leather and Luxury Cars, how you doing? Says, hey, y'all, I've been here just listening from the bushes. Okay. And Marcus says, let's be clear. Real convicting R. Kelly only became an option after the record stopped selling. And it is a fact that the brother reached out numerous times for help because he is indeed sick. But instead of helping him, they simply covered up and told him to keep making hits. If you quit crack in front of a crack, I think he meant crack in front of a crackhead, he's going to smoke crack. The people that supported and fit his addiction are worse than he is. I don't know if they're worse than he is. They're just as bad. I mean, he's actually the one that's, and I'm going to say allegedly committed the acts. Pioneer says, no, I'm not saying things are perfect, but politically speaking, black people have more power now than we had 50 years ago. It's not the black politicians' fault if our people don't do what we are supposed to. Were you going to say something, Donovan?
Well, I was going to say, like, in regards to R. Kelly's, crack addiction and stuff, like, not these crack addiction, but it's the same thing in regards to a lot of people should be going to jail, in that case, and I just don't understand how you can just take, I really think R. Kelly is going to be the scapegoat to a lot of, and I hate to say this the wrong way, like not feminists in general, but like he's just that sacrificial lamb they're going to throw out there so you don't get the real people who are making the real money. Right now, isn't Russell Simmons hiding out? I'm not saying he's guilty of anything, but he left because they tried to set him up. You know what I mean?
I don't know if he's hiding out, but it sounds like, it was a lot of nonsense involved with his case. So
yeah, they're trying to set him up or something. So it's like, this is what they're doing, as a black man. I'm not saying R. Kelly is innocent or anything. I don't know. Well, I do know. I do have an opinion about it. But I'm just saying, it seems like you throw a black man out there, you throw him under the bus, and then we go on with life.
Pioneer says, no, I'm not saying things are perfect, but politically, I think I read that one. And Jonelle says, we haven't snuffed out America, whom presidents was and are pedos and have history of raping young children of all nations. We tolerate the injustices served to us by our colonizers, yet enjoying our hanging, especially when it is a black person just accused in a nation that says are innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, if the slander don't get you first via biased media, R. Kelly may be guilty, but he's a product made and by America and rape victim will there be reform for him or execution? Stay tuned. Good question. I don't think they're interested in reforming R. Kelly. And Pioneer says it's a shame. It's a shame that the chat room allowed you to catch up on all these comments so quickly this early. We must not be on our game this Sunday evening. No, I'm just trying to, make sure I'm not behind, because I hate reading the comments when they're like 20 minutes or so behind. And then Donovan and I can be a little bit more heavy on our commentary, but we want to make sure we get you guys' comments. And Pamela Jamin says, how many people out there who are worse than R. Kelly that people are still supporting? He has a right to due process. The court of public opinion is ruthless. And that's what I was saying with the whole gladiator arena thing that we do with social media and all of that. We just want to see people ruined, like just buried, right? And then it's like, oh, we've done our job. But I always say this: there, but for the grace of God, there go I. Nobody knows what we do in our public, our private lives, because we're private, right? For the most part. So we have this voyeuristic thing with celebrities and people like that. We see what they do, and so we think it's okay to ruin and destroy them. Now, some people should be destroyed. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be, but at what point in time do you say, okay, now he's in the system as far as courts, and we're going to let them deal with him? Why do we need to keep piling on? I guess that's really what I'm asking.
Well, let me ask you this, Demetra. Isn't this the guise and the bottom line of how capitalism works? The us versus me, the rich versus the poor, the invisible class system that we have here and stuff like that. This is how capitalism works. You don't hear about stuff like this in a socialist society. In China, they execute corruption. The people that are corrupted, they execute it. But everybody is treated the same. Everybody has access to the same things. So you don't see these things going on. In our culture, yeah, destroy. Oh, he's better than me, or I want to see, this guy who's filthy rich and I have nothing, just be destroyed. And that's part of how capitalism works. Very ruthless.
Yeah, Monia, I got all your emails. I just didn't have a chance to look at them, but I see that they came across. Thank you for that. And Thunder, he says, please learn your self-defense laws where you live. Learn your rights. You need a law degree to practice law. You don't need a law degree to exercise your rights. People, come on. Very good. I like that. And let's see here. Sunlight, he says, Donald Trump has never been arrested and had to stay in jail because he couldn't find bail money. No one would do that willingly. That's how you know he didn't have it. Absolutely. And
right, exactly. He only pays fines. Notice that? Because he's in that class. His crimes are white collar crimes where he's only going to have to pay a fine.
I think the point she's making, though, is that if R. Kelly had the money, he wouldn't be in jail. Yes. And Marcus says, well, I don't defend. I think you don't defend what R. Kelly did in any way. I do believe a lot of these women were coached into being angry, abused victims who are being portrayed like innocent girls who are most likely committing sexual acts long before R. Kelly. Well, I'm going to say this, even if it was one, he's wrong for it. And, anybody who abuses anybody should pay for it. And I'm just not one of those people to say that R. Kelly is innocent. I don't believe R. Kelly is innocent. To what degree, I don't know what he's actually done. And listen, I get it. R. Kelly has been the soundtrack to a lot of our lives. Y'all might have stepped in the name of love. You might have produced a baby off of whatever.
Bump and grind.
Yeah, all of that. I believe I can fly, right? I mean, so I get it, but I think we need to hold as much as we can, right? R. Kelly accountable for the horrible things that he did do. I don't know, Brother Sammy, how you doing? He says, greetings. Have you all heard of Dr. Wesley Dr. Wesley speak on Mr. David Geffen and the Rainbow Mafia of Hollywood and all the filth they are involved in? Yes. And Brother Samuel also donated to the Savior's Day thing, so I hope you got it. And thank you for sending me that. And Terry says, I said the same thing. R. Kelly is not the only one who should be going to jail. Some of these parents, as well as others, almost never are famous predators without enablers. Yeah, I agree. I mean, who hasn't heard about the tape, at least, right? Or Aaliyah. So,
what's the girl that she's still involved with them, Jocelyn, and her father and stuff like that? Here's what I'm trying to start to figure out now. It seems like to me everything is a grift. Just like Black Lives Matter, they create this narrative and they say we need money to fight this. This guy's an animal, and he probably is. And it's another way to make money without making money. I'm not saying that Jocelyn, whoever her parents are, don't have money, but it doesn't take that much to, if your daughter doesn't want to be around you or something, there's a internal problem with that. But it just seems to me a lot of these things now is a grift. Everything is a grift. Well,
R. Kelly, he called himself the Pied Piper. What is the Pied Piper? It's a folk tale, fairy tale, if you will. Pied Piper used music to lure the rats or the mice or whatever it was. And in this case, R. Kelly allegedly, I'm
Right.
gonna say
Hood rats. Go ahead.
well, I don't want to call them hood rats
No,
because
go
some of
ahead.
them, yeah, some of them are actually victims. But R. Kelly is telling us, he was telling us who he was or is, and R. Kelly is a Svengali. Svengali is, you know, a man, or I guess maybe it could be a woman, but traditionally it's a man that has a hold over, you know, it's a pimp for a lack of better words, right? And there's nothing that that person under their control will not do. And so I believe that's who R. Kelly is. And once he got these girls under his, you know, control, if you will, yeah, they probably didn't want to go back for whatever reason. So, you know, it's the Stockholm syndrome type of thing as well.
Well, how many of you guys remember the former Speaker of the House, Dennis Haskell? Why did he leave, other than losing control of Congress? But before he lost control of Congress, why did he resign from Congress?
Yep.
He was alleged to be involved in some fallacious stuff.
And Terry says here was Jerry Sandusky was actually seen in the shower and no one reported anything. Yeah, when it came out later, they said, well, we saw him in the shower, you know, this, that, and the other, like really doing some egregious things with his victims. And so Jerry Sandusky and I can't think of the head coach, they were actually held accountable for that. And the Pioneer says it's called selective enforcement. It's one of the tricks of racism. They'll make up a bunch of laws that only enforce a certain people at certain times. The laws are unequally applied. Yes.
Amen.
And KW, how you doing? He says R. Kelly literally recorded everything. And yes, that's what a lot of people are saying. But one lady that was at the trial says to this date, they haven't produced any video recordings. Not saying they won't, but she says that they haven't this far. But to your point, they said there's a lot of recordings out there. So, I mean, it's kind of like right before your eyes, kind of, sort of.
Wait a minute, KW. Wait a minute. There's video out there. The pillow guy says he has it. The white lawyer says she has it. The Kraken lady says she has it. They're going to, after almost a year now of saying they're going to produce this evidence, sitting in courts, 60 cases, they haven't produced one bit of evidence, but it's coming. It's coming. The evidence is there. Well,
that remains to be seen. And Terry says Mike McCrary actually saw him testify in court and doesn't get time. That's wrong. You talking about Jerry Sandusky? Yeah, it was very problematic. He says that too, KW, and it was more than just him and his target. Many other people should be in jail with him. Yes, indeed. And the Pioneer says, do you know that the U.S. has more laws than any nation on the planet, including Russia and China? The nation was allegedly founded on freedom, but has more laws and more people behind bars. Yes. And Terry says, if R. Kelly had the money, he wouldn't be in jail. I looked him up a few days ago, and he was in the hole by millions. So he's definitely broke. Sunlight says, meanwhile, Les Moonves and a gang of other pale faces are free as a bird with their millions and still counting, yet we are not concerned. Ridiculous, right? But the media tells us to keep our eye on R. Kelly only, right? Pioneer says, speaking about R. Kelly and sex, did you know that according to the Black Authority, paying for sex was made a felony in Texas in 2021? What was the purpose of that except to lock up more people?
Wait a minute, Pioneer. Paying for sex in Texas is now a felony. So these married couples are going to be locked up? Is that what you're telling me?
Stop it.
You know, I mean, think about it. I mean, depending on how you want to apply it, right? You know, I got my wife. She says, "Oh, I want to go shopping." I'm paying her later on that night. Or you see, Texas, crazy laws, crazy.
And Robin says some people will do anything for money and fame. I think R. Kelly had a whole lot of help to do what he did, so we'll never really know the whole truth. Yeah, he had a lot of yes people around him. And Hannah, how you doing? He says he should get his day in court just like anyone else. The parents have a role in the grooming. You better believe it.
And Hannah, I agree with you. Everybody should get his day in court. But what does Demetra Kaye say? And I say all the time. I just got my jury summons yesterday. What do we say? For a fair trial, we need to show up so he could be judged by a jury of his peers. Period.
Yep. And, you know, and really what Hannah is saying is he's innocent until proven guilty, regardless of what we think. So, no, absolutely. Yeah, the parents, they did help groom their own children. Marcus says, and what you said, just said is the most painful part of it is that he was the soundtrack of our lives. He did have unlimited Black support in the Black community. And now that he is on trial, this would be the time that we should be celebrating his legacy at the Boy Theater versus battle against 5 of the superstars he would have won hands down. That's the tragedy of it all also. Yeah, I mean, he's a horrible person that made great music, some of it, because some of it was kind of eerie, right? Creepy. And Pioneer says, wow, people are celebrating Texas passing open and carry laws as more freedom, quote unquote. The same politicians who pass it are busy making more citizens felons so they can't carry. Get the picture. Yep. We got to educate ourselves. And Terry says that's capitalism for you. And Janelle says, right, Queen, he did not help his case at all. And Terry says, remember, Boondocks even mentioned that, just didn't use the term. And Moni says, sometimes you have to know, Demetra and Donovan, how to expose these crooks in our bed areas here in Detroit. I've been trying to expose some crooks that's been selling drugs, causing people to OD and then die. Wow. And Brother Simon says, thank you on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Just check, it's there. Yes, it's my pleasure. Always, always, always my pleasure. And Bringing It Black says, stop. And Robbie laughing at Donovan. And again, if you guys are in Facebook groups and you're watching this and you want me to read your comments, click on the link, come over. I would love to do it. And Anais says, sex is never free. You better believe it. It's going to cost you something. And Pamela Jammer says, no matter how much evidence the white supremacists have, white supremacists protect their own. If folks can't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you. Case in point, Brock Turner. Yes, that's the white teenager, I guess, at the time, who raped and murdered a little black girl. And he got a slap on the wrist due to affluenza, meaning he was too rich to understand what going to prison is like. So he got, I think he did like a month or so and he was released. Horrible. I might be mixing up cases, but something like that. And Pam is jamming. You say, oh no, I read that. Okay, and Terry, you say, in Texas they will use such a law and apply it to black married couples, taking your wife out for an anniversary, then making love after will get many black people arrested. Well, damn, how will they know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what about the abortion law? And I'm just going to talk about Texas real quick. What about the abortion law? The abortion law in Texas, doesn't it turn people into vigilantes? If you report somebody who got an abortion, there's like a $10,000 bounty, or something like that. I mean, yeah. What is going on in Texas?
Well, TikTok creators and people on TikTok have been lambasting, if you will, or bombarding the reporting site, falsely reporting, and they got banned, and somebody's website got taken down by Google because they're upset about the new abortion law in Texas, which means that you can't abort after 6 weeks. So Texas is really it's really a place to be. And I don't mean that in a good way. And Jeremy, how you doing? He says, good evening, Demetra and Donovan and Black First Family. For those who made their children to R. Kelly's music over the last 20 plus years, are y'all going to put their children up for adoption?
I am.
I don't think so. His music was playing when my daughter was conceived. I don't think so. And Hannah says they won't let us in certain juries. Yeah, I mean, I know every jury duty I've showed up to, they've always dismissed me on day one. I've never even made it on a
jury. Yeah, because Demetra knows the system. We show up in shorts.
No, one time I showed up and I was gonna walk back home. It was about a 3-mile walk back home or whatever. I was gonna walk back home after it was all said and done. So I had a small backpack with my walking shoes in it, and the chick, after that was letting people in, I didn't know. She was like, you can't bring this in. I said, well, my ride left because I was going to walk home and there's my walking shoes. And she goes, well, you have to throw them away or, you can't come in here. I said, well, I'm not going to throw my tennis shoes away. But I do need to get credit for being here. And I just happened to see Donovan downtown. I don't know what he was doing. They probably starting some trouble his own damn self. Maybe he was bailing out from a hot night out. I don't know what he was doing there. But so I said, y'all need to mark me down as president. And they did. But I was like, I'm not going to throw my shoes away. So,
and the funny thing about that story was like, hey, Demetra, you can put your stuff in my car. She was like, I don't even know this guy. I don't even know him.
And LaMarcus, how you doing? It says, give him a break. R. Kelly wasn't able to read their ID card anyway. I think some of those stories are false. Yeah, I would concede that. I don't think all of them are true. I think somebody's lying, right? And Avery, you say, Demetra, why do you think Aaliyah's mom was also has been so silent? Is her silence paid for? She almost defends R. Kelly and acts as if it never happened. Well, I don't want to be too hard on Aaliyah's mom. I will be hard on her the fact that she allowed R. Kelly to traipse around the country and the world, maybe with her very young daughter. Just looking back at it, it was very bizarre and weird that any mom would let their 15-year-old child just free to be with a grown man, right? But it was Aaliyah's mom when she found out her parents, rather when they were married, that she, all hell broke loose. And so I don't know if she's defending him or not, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Jeremy says, my wife and I are out camping, listening, and wandering. Okay, well, y'all be careful out there.
And if you're in Texas, do not have relations.
Stop it, and don't pay for it. And Thunder says, and the judge that was raping black men, if they want a lesser sentence, yes, he is a lot of sick people out there, I tell you that. And like, who wants to, just throw away the key on me. Just throw away the key, okay? And Jonelle says, how much revenue will those who own R. Kelly and his masters make if he walks? He clearly hasn't been cut from that ownership. Meanwhile, the courts and media revenue is growth. America court system is rooted in revenue, not just justice. Have we not seen The Devil's Advocate? Watch the movie. Yes, I have seen it. That's with Al Pacino, right?
Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm. And Bringing It Black, he said some states have a very young age of consent. Just strange, yo. Yeah, 16 in some places, 17. Yeah, so back in the early 1900s, there was no age of consent. It wasn't not rare for a 40-something-year-old man to marry a 12-year-old. So, and Terry says, exactly, I remember Brock Turner. And the Pioneer says, for over 40 years, most black folks in California pretty much allowed themselves to be chased out by whites, Latinos, and even Asians. They didn't fight, but packed up and left for Arizona or Georgia. Well, it's expensive, too, to live in California. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of black businesses, not a large opportunity to practice group economics, but it just makes economical sense if you don't have it like that to leave where you can enjoy some quality of life without stress. And okay, so somebody said Brock Turner's victim was white. Yeah, so I knew I probably had it mixed up, but one of them, it did involve a black child. LaMarcus says they have blocked the abortion law for now. Okay, and when you say they, who is that? And Hannah said the abortion law is to preserve white life. Too many white abortions. Now, there you go. That is the real truth. They saw that census data come out. Says that the planet in the United States definitely is browning. And it's a ploy. I mean, Texas has always been with the stuff. You name it, they've always been with it, right?
Yeah, I think what Marcus was saying was the appeals court temporarily blocked it.
Okay. Meaning that abortions are legal in Texas for now. Okay. So Sunlight says white women got their judge removed after that. Also respect the code. Absolutely. It should be removed after letting people off for such heinous crimes. Finder says California is a lost cause, but there are still millions of black folks in Texas and dominant cities like Houston and Dallas right now. They need to stand their ground and drive the devils westward. Laugh out loud. It's a good concept. And Robin says, but how many people blab to the world that they're planning an abortion? How will they know? Exactly, right? And Terry says, how did they know in Lawrence versus Texas that where cops stormed a private home and saw a gay couple being intimate and charged them with sodomy? I might be wrong in the name. I'm no lawyer yet. And that's why California changed the laws on their books, because the laws were like that as well. And that's why you hear a lot of people say, oh, California, pedophilia is legal in California. It's not. The law like that was like that in California. They changed it. And Anna says, I am a Luther Vandross baby myself. Okay. So you are in the 80s. I don't know what I am. I'm probably who ain't no telling. Who
I just put mine in there. I'm a Clarence Carter baby. Stroking. That didn't come out to the 80s. I'm just joking.
Oh my God. I'm gonna leave that with the law. And the panel examiner says affluenza kid is Ethan Couch. Okay, cool. That's the one that he was too rich to go to prison. And Terry says I'd be in trouble in law school trying to cite cases off the top of my head. Laugh out loud. Yeah, you and me both.
But that's why you got Google and you got a tablet nowadays. You don't have to worry about keeping it to memory.
Donna says, what about Elvis and Priscilla? Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and when I said that, when we're talking about older men and younger women, Elvis Presley was a grown-ass man in Germany dating a 14-year-old. He says, even though they slept in the bed, they didn't do anything. But how many people actually believe that?
Right. And Thunder says they are making it easier to become a felon in Texas, so you can't carry, but those on paper you can carry. Also, Texas Penal Code for 46.013A, B, black powder revolver work then and the work now. Okay. And Terry says they already broke the law. Camping isn't free. Laugh out loud. Uh-oh, we telling on people. And Marcus says, I honestly wish I could develop a certain amount of numbness to what we go through as black people, as we are treated by this government and this law. As much as I love my people, it's disheartening what white people do to us, but it's even worse what we do to each other. My life has been put in jeopardy more times by my own, more times than any white person. Yeah, and I think unfortunately a lot of black people have that story. It's a shame.
I often say, why is it that Black Lives Matter only if you're killed by a white person? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and I think we want to stay away from the narrative that Black lives don't matter to black people, because they do, just not to some black people, right? Robin says, any parent that let their teenagers be around a grown-ass man is suspect to me, which goes back to my point, more than R. Kelly needs to be on trial. Yes, indeed. But, R. Kelly is the big fish. That's what they want.
Yeah, and Robin, think about this, and nothing, and no shade to any of you ladies, please don't take this the wrong way, but how many of you ladies, not you guys particularly, but young girls, they got the new boyfriend and they go to work and they leave the new boyfriend to watch the kids, and some of the kids might be a daughter or something like that, and you hear stories of the daughter being molested by the boyfriend. We let these guys in, and it's in our community all the time.
Unfortunately. And LaMarcus, you say, if I'm on the phone telling a lady what I'm going to do to her when I get her back to my crib, and then if I have to put gas in my car to pick her up, I then paid for it, and you might be in trouble. And Terry says, I said they were going to put a stop to the abortion law because of the last census. Non-white women go to Planned Parenthood, but white women go to their OBGYNs. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's where they do most of their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Pioneer says, I told you a few weeks ago that the media announcing that the white population in the U.S. are at its lowest was a dog whistle to whites around the nation to reproduce and bring in more replacements. Yes, indeed. And Donovan says, I'm a Clarence Carter baby stroking. I'm going to tell your mama. And Brandon Black says 80s. That's Gen X, I think. Yes. Well, 70s, some 80s, yeah, because I'm Gen X.
Yeah, Generation X from 1966 to 1978.
So
that, yeah.
79.
79.
Yeah, that's 79. Okay. And Hannah says doctors have to be really about it to stay in Texas doing abortions. Yeah, because you end up going to jail behind that one. And Marcus says, Demetra and Donovan, we are all Al Green and Marvin Gaye babies with a little Barry White thrown in. Yeah, there you go. That you might be right on that one. And Terry says Jerry Lee Lewis too with his cousin. Yep. And the Pioneer says we need a balanced immigration policy where all are demanding a more black immigrants to help maintaining or increasing our numbers instead of picking fights with black immigrants. I agree with you on that. And Anna says Demetra the stylistic baby. I'm stoned in love. Yes, that I start to say stylistic, but yeah, y'all should hear my dad's falsetto. He got a mean falsetto, boy. I'm telling you.
Well, I'd have to say then I would have to be probably a OJ's or a Spinner's baby.
You might be Muddy Waters. You're a little you're a little older than you.
No, David Ruffin. There you go. David Ruffin.
And Terry says we should come with the same energy when we're harmed by our own too. Oh, absolutely, all day long. But see, a lot of times we don't want to talk about that. And I'll tell you this, some stories that I do and I see other people do. We do black people doing things to black people. Some people are like, well, we ain't here to talk about us. We here to talk about what the colonizers is doing. It's like, well, I mean, we're talking about black people. I think we should talk about that because somebody might be watching and learn something new and turn around and not do something, right? So I agree with you. Somebody says, no, not me, but yes, it happens all the time. Marcus says, honestly, just by how we deal with things and how we handle things that concerns us, it's proof that black lives don't matter to black people except for a few. Or I don't want to say a few. I would say more than just a few. It matters too. But yeah, I mean, we should be just as up in arms when Ray Ray and Pookie per se and Boom Quisha or whoever else are out there harming black people. Somebody sent me a video. Guess it happened yesterday of, black women. I don't even going to call them women, okay? I like Brother Phil's word, hyenas. Because I don't want to even liken them to women. They were fighting to the death in the middle of the street, snatching off hair, clothes, and the dudes, the Ray Rays and Pookies, were standing around filming and egging it on. I mean, to the death in the middle of the street, right? And so we should talk about those things, not just like, ooh, world star, but in that this is a shame and we need to do better as black people. It was just horrible. And Terry says entirely too many times, Donovan, I get a lot of heat for not dating anymore. But when I was dating, my children didn't meet any of my friends, and I met at our destinations, no coming to my house. Yes, indeed. And Moni says, I think it's bad to meet you, and I hope that you might be able to get up out of Texas because it's really not that cost effective. Michigan is far more cheaper than Texas will ever be, at least 75% cheaper. I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know, Moni. I mean, you're kind of scaring me with all those tales.
And Anna says, millennial here, 1986. Okay. And Bringing It Black says, y'all cats gonna let the recovering Democrat get y'all in trouble talking about gas money is sex money.
Wait, is a millennial 1986 or would that be a Generation Y?
I believe they're millennials because my daughter's a millennial and she's 92. So maybe. No, wait. No, you're right. They're
after us is Generation Y.
Z.
No,
Gen
Y.
Z. They're Y? Okay, so yeah, there's something. And then millennials are Deanna. My daughter knows it for exactly whatever. Okay, so anyway, and Moni says, I could not imagine living in a state to meet you aware your actual governor wants it approved for people not to be allowed to terminate if they feel like it when it's their body, not his body to choose. Jonelle says, fully jab, people are dying. Do not take that jab, period. Pioneer says, David Ruffin, then Brother Donovan is a Motown baby then. Could be. And she mentioned, how you doing? It says, after mind control of 466 years, it's easy to say why it's black on black crime. Read Willie Lynch. I have read it, although some people dispute its authenticity, but I've read it. Makes sense nevertheless. Jonelle says, right, keep that same energy. Black life is valuable no matter who takes it. We should be on edge, especially when it's us killing us over BS. Yes, indeed. And Martin says, I would love to know what your take on that, Demetra, as a woman, somebody telling you that if you get a ride by an Uber or a Lyft, even to another state to get an abortion, that person who drives you can be in jail. I think it's very austere, and Texas is obviously has a hidden agenda of what's going on. But I mean, who's telling? Who you telling? Like, why are we? If that's what you want to do, why are you telling people? You know. Pioneer says a lot of our people act like a pack of savages, and it's not only embarrassing, but it's worse. It's teaching many of the young people watching that they should behave that way too. Yep. And Lamarcus says, let's put it in a nutshell. The reason R. Kelly is on trial is because he beat the first Fed trial. The Feds hate to lose a case because it affects their conviction rate of 98%.
You know, and Lamarcus, do you know the military has a conviction rate of 99.4%?
I believe that might be some of it, but I believe really R. Kelly is in trouble because he didn't just take the Hail Mary and go away. You know, he kept doing things that put him in jeopardy after that trial. You know, most people,
like OJ, when they told him to lay low.
Yeah, most people would have said, okay, I dodged one, so let me go ahead and do other things, but he didn't do that. So, but, you know, some of it is true. And you say also, but I believe some of the stories, same here. And Marcus says, I stand by a few. We have gotten we have given birth to a generation of The Walking Dead who move like zombies throughout the country, repeating the same cycle, city by city and state to state. Our local news spends the first 15 minutes reporting crimes and murders committed by us before they go on with anything else. Yet we can't seem to collectively figure out how to calm these disturbing waters, and we can't lay claim to any victory of any kind that concerns us as a people. Very well said. And she mentions we are a nation inside of a nation, and there is no nation that hasn't had murder. So it's a false narrative. Yeah, everybody commits murders, but you never hear white on white, Asian on Asian, Mexican on Mexican, whatever, right? And the pioneer says the increased negative behavior of many of our people is one of the reasons I keep stressing that intelligent and decent Black folks need to organize and form their own communities to keep out negativity. I said it. Yes, I did. Yes, and hello to you as well, Shemesh. And text. Sunlight says Donovan is my comment removed. I didn't. I think I read them all, but Donovan be able to see it. Or it says Texas is doing much. Let's call it like it is. I can never stay in Texas, a state like that, hot all the time. Racism in your local government. No, thank you. Refuse to teach proper history. You keep it. I feel you. And Terry says they're just waiting for a test case right now. It's just hypothetical. They're waiting for someone to actually go to jail over this. I hope it ain't me. The market says, yes, sir, Donovan. And IE says, should Black women twerk in mixed companies? Stay in Italy. Say in Italy. So you're talking about Megan Thee Stallion, Sierra, and I forget who the other person. Normani. They were twerking at it. Was it a Versace? One of those high-end Prada, I don't know, high-end fashion shows, and they bent their behinds over and twerk in such a disgusting manner in front of mixed company. When we say mixed company, we're talking about white people. And so, no, I think that's horrible, and a shame to the people who are defending such nasty behavior.
Wait a minute. Stop. Megan Thee Stallion is an HBCU graduate.
I mean, you would never know it, right? She needs to start acting like one. But, what makes me more mad is the people who defend that behavior. You should not be defending that behavior. It's awful. It's disgusting. It's gross. I don't care how many millions of dollars they have. And Sierra tried to distance herself from it, but she was egging it on and she was doing it too. So no, I just think it's horrible. And Pioneer says not just with the abortion laws and R. Kelly, but this COVID-19, somebody called it thing, doesn't seem to be improving, but they're coming out with a new variant every month. Black folks need to be working on their own cures. Yeah, and taking care of ourselves health-wise, right? And Lamarcus says, you're right, Demetra. I forgot about that last point you made. And Mart, how you doing? He says Black Lives Matter is about justice in the system. Of Black that kills one of us is put in prison, but not the white people. Yeah, so that's the difference between Black on Black crime and when white people kill us or whatever. I guess we make a big deal out of it because white people are often not punished, but Black people are punished for the most part when they do something like that. It's a good point. And Terry says, I believe that the Supreme Court will wait and they will act after the state attempts to violate the Texas law. Right now is sort of a waste of time to hear it when no harm was done yet, I think. And Marcus says,
well, we're real quick, Terry, though, but isn't it a law in the Supreme Court that says no state shall make a law that infringes upon a person's rights? So if you have a law like Roe versus Wade, which has been adjudicated by the Supreme Court, wouldn't that be a violation of the supreme law of the land?
Marcus says teen birth, gang violence, drug addiction, child abuse, incarceration, poverty, racism are all things that we could have solved to a degree if we actually cared about ourselves and each other as we claim we do at the BET Awards, Laugh Out Loud, the NAACP Awards, and the Black Girls Rock Awards. I agree with you 100%. Jonelle says it all the time, you protect what you love, and we apparently don't have a lot of love for our own people. Pioneer says we have enough educated doctors, nurses, and scientists to form our own hospitals and laboratories. Why are these Black doctors coming on stuttering and lying because they're confused about the COVID-19? And whatever happened to that Black doctor that says she had the cure and you haven't heard anything else from her? Money says many states are going to try to the same thing after backwards Texas. I think y'all need to stop hyping Texas up. It's full of crap. You discriminate on every aspect. No, thank you. You'll stay in the North. I mean, I'm not hyping Texas up at all. I mean, Texas is definitely with the stuff. I'll never lie and say they're not, but everywhere is at this point. Texas is just a little bit more bold and brazen with it. The Pioneer says, I was watching the video of the brother go Black to Africa and knew when he was back in the United States because the Black folks in the background were walking around looking confused. Too many Black folks are confused here. Yes, indeed. And Terry says the COVID-19 is here to stay. I was telling people that way back in January 20. I told them back then, I even said we are going to have a cold, flu, Coco 19 from now on. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and I was saying the same thing. We've sat out for over a year, and it's not getting any better. So, hey, let's go somewhere and just do what we can do while we can, because I'm not getting any goddamn younger. So.
Yep, and she mentions twerk for me at home, ass naked. Don't do it in public. It's niggerdom. I don't like it. Yuck. It's a tough for me. A place, a time and a place for everything. Yes, indeed. I agree with you 100%. And Thunder says, is there any way to be corresponding when anything happens when we be on scene with our cameras? And if someone asks us, do we have any media credentials? Can we show them?
Yes, just print out the First Amendment of the Constitution, and that's your credentials.
And Pioneer says, many of our communities are in shambles because we don't want to take charge for the laws, the healthcare, the jobs, the economy, too busy being selfish or waiting on Caucasians to bring a solution. And Lamarck says, Donovan, can my homeboy get a VA disability for sleep apnea? Sorry to get off topic. So I said, can his friend get VA benefits for sleep apnea?
Yes, absolutely. That's a big issue in the VA right now, because a lot of, especially if you were in the Army and the Marine Corps, you guys were on the ground fighting and stuff. So a lot of guys can't sleep. I went through the sleep apnea program. I can't sleep, but I only sleep 4 hours a day. But that's just my body rhythm. But yeah, sleep apnea, yes, you can. But the thing is, you got to be patient. The system is designed to stall you out. And a lot of guys are just impatient and they don't want to go through it. In example, Demetra's Al. Okay, it's frustrating, but that's the system. They want you to drop out and quit. How many Black people walk away from their benefits because it's taking too damn long? So just stick with it. File for it, stick with it, and just go with the program.
And Robin says, have you seen the news ties, quote unquote, designed by African fashion designer that's being sold in South Africa? I have seen it. It's silly. I've seen it. It's very silly, and I don't even know why anybody would buy that. It's like, are you serious? And Brother Samuel says, I feel people who defend that inappropriate behavior of our artists just because they get paid a lot of money because maybe they have similar motivations are teetering on prostitution. I agree with you. It is very disgusting behavior. Terry says, I agree, Donovan, but the Supreme Court needs to step on its own toes all the time. I believe this is just one of those times. I think this is a wait and see what happens. And Sunlight says, Donovan, can you see it? So she said, can you see her comment?
Yeah. I just sent you a response. Everybody, if your comment doesn't pop up, it's usually you used a word or something that they're monitoring, and so we can't see it. But, if you put your stuff up and it comes through, we can see it.
And Marcus says, I wish we would stop preaching about laws and legislation that we should be fighting for when we know that those very laws and legislations will change based on white America needs at the time. And all of these great ideas and things that we could do, we know will never get done here, but there are things we can take to other places and not just Africa where we can grow in abundance. Good point. And Eli says, Donovan, are you the guy? Are you the guy in the video?
Which video? I'm in a lot of videos.
Right. Chief Indian, how you doing? He says, peace to the chat. Independent Thought, how you doing? He says, girl, bye. Black media is your code for having Black men and pygmies there to create the narrative that R. Kelly is an innocent man and just Black women trying to bring him down. Okay. And I guess I should reiterate this for the idiots, and I did call those people idiots who have not read or watched me. I've never once defended R. Kelly, never once said that R. Kelly is innocent. I believe that R. Kelly is guilty. Now, for people who come in late and then try to throw their little 1 cent into the game, I said that we should support Black media so that we can get the truth, regardless of what the truth is, as it's being presented now. All of the things that are pertinent to the case are not being reported. Just narratives being formed to make it seem like it's completely one-sided. And so if you're still watching, I hope that makes sense. But girl, bye. You let me stop. Woosah. Morning says some laws. Donovan tell you I'm a lot better than I used to be, because I used to just go hard in the paint when people come on here with half the information. But I've gotten a lot better. Marty says some laws might only be state statutes or city ordinance. Let's be clear, Donovan. I think I'll be glad to see at least two Republicans justice from Supreme Court retire, so it's a better balance. Well, actually, a lot of the Supreme Court justices and some of them Republicans have actually ruled in favor of the people, if you will. So, and like Justice Roberts, even Kavanaugh has, decided
to extend the moratorium.
Kavanaugh did that. Mm-hmm. They haven't ruled on behalf of the Republicans, if you will. So it's not all that yet.
And then here's another thing, ladies. If the Democratic Party is so for you guys and they're for the people, if you're worried about the Roe versus Wade situation and your rights as a woman and the control of your body, now is the time for Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats to expand the Supreme Court. Damn the filibuster, expand the Supreme Court. Do what you got to do to protect your constituents. But they're not doing it. I wonder why.
Good question. And Pioneer says, yes, go to African nations and European nations. You don't see Black folks staggering around days and looking unsure of where to go or what to do. You don't see them arguing over which direction to go. Not all the time, but they getting just as bad as we are, unfortunately. And let's see here. And the Pioneer says, Black folks in the U.S. are still in an excellent position not to only heal this nation, but heal the world. But we have to take the initiative to do it and stop waiting on Caucasians to solve problems. Yes, indeed. And Thunder says our communities are in shambles because of our spending habits and our voting habits. What you see now in the community is directly because of Democratic voting and refusing to practice group economics. Bingo. And you also say, if you want things to change, hold your vote and hold your dollar. You better say it again. And Terry says, I'm a pro on shadow banning. Laugh out loud. I stay banned. I was actually in Twitter jail before for 2 days. You think I curse? Laugh out loud. I always thought it was hard to go to jail on Twitter, but I guess not. And Robin said, okay. And an independent thought. I'm gonna oblige you this one comment. You say, why do y'all turn the situation about Black girls being sexually abused into a Black man are treated fairly case? Pro-Black just simply means pro-Black man. Okay, so clearly this is a feminist that has gotten on the post. But can y'all in the chat educate this feminist, if you will, on what we are actually talking about here? This is one of these people that all up in the Kool-Aid and don't know the flavor. Nobody on here was defending R. Kelly or turning this into a pro-Black man, but we pro-Black people. We not on that bullshit y'all be on some of those channels that y'all follow, trying to be down with Black men and all that. Go on over there with all that other stuff. And I would hate to block you, but I will. But we're not going to be over here talking bad about Black men or Black women. We are all about Black love and Black people over here, period. And so if this is not the conversation for you, then watch to see your ass somewhere else. Pioneer says, we don't need to go to any other nation. We can do what we need to do right here in the USA. If you're a fool in Los Angeles, you're going to be a fool in Ghana or Zimbabwe. Start building here. Yeah. And that's what the Honorable Marcus Garvey said. He says there's some Black people like independent thought that are no good here and they'll be no good in Africa. So some people just need to be left behind. And anybody who was being divisive, talking bad about Black men and trying to only lift up Black women, they are divisive and they need to be left behind. And yes, Michi, 1 cent. They bringing 1 cent to the chat like they've been here the whole time. And Bringing It Black says, what was he charged with? I'm lost at that actually. He was charged with a whole bunch of stuff. Human trafficking, sex trafficking, abuse, just a lot.
The biggest thing is the Mann Act, the same thing Jack Johnson was tried on.
Well, so he has a lot of things actually. He's looking at upwards of 200 years with all of the stuff combined if he's found guilty. So it's not looking good for R. Kelly at all. And Olivia says that was straight disrespectful. You don't just bust up in the live chat and speak on things you're not sure of. Hopefully that person gets blocked. I didn't like that. Yeah, I mean, some people are just ignorant, and if she's probably one of those people who follow the down with the Black man channels and they hate Black men type of thing. We ain't on that over here, and y'all know that. So
yeah, and you guys are part of the show too. That's why Demetra asked you guys to educate her because we got other things we got to do. So
exactly. And Moni says when you look at how they won't rule Demetra for reparations, number one, They've been ruling against us for well over 630 years. When it has more of a liberal aspect, they will not concern a woman's body. Well, I mean, that's just kind of the thing, though. You know, a lot of people, in regards to the abortion laws, are saying, you know, it's men interjecting themselves when it concerns a woman's body. And I do agree with that. I don't think men should be able to rule over what women do for their bodies. I mean, as far as abortion, I don't like the taking of life, but it's not my choice. Also, God gives us free will. Who are we to as man to decide that people shouldn't do one thing or the other, right? So, is that what it is? So that's my take on it. And John, how you doing? He says, love the work of Black media. Same here. Pioneer says, yes, Queen. Like you said, some Africans are getting to be like our people here because the negative elements spreading overseas influencing some of them, which is why I said stay here and get right. I mean, that's what I would like to do. And Demetrius, or Michi rather, says, period. And Bringing It Black says, not the Watusi though. Yeah, Watusi your ass out of here. I'm just saying, if you don't like what we're talking about. Olivia says, thank you, block them. I will as soon as I can. And Thunder says, there are elections coming up soon. If you want to be taken seriously, hold the vote. Is very simple. Don't vote for any of them. That's what we say all the time.
Yeah, Thunder. I mean, the Democratic Party needs to pay a price so they will stop taking our votes for granted. If they feel that there's no price to pay, they're going to continue to do what they did.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's see. Yes, I'm gonna block her. If I see her comment comes back up again, and Bringing It Black, it says, "Yep, sounds like the Man Act." LaMarcus says, "Independent thought we're just gonna keep you lifted up in prayer, or hit your ass with some hot holy water."
That's right. A man is no good. I've been telling you this. It is men, and just it's you know, women like that kind of remind me of Marcy. When are we gonna get our No Ma'am shirts?
We need to get us maybe have Deanna make us some No Ma'am shirts. That was what Al Bundy wore on Married with Children when he was down with feminism and all of that. And she says, it's not hard to want you to have a larger platform. Love this show. Well, we love y'all too, and we love doing this. You know, one day we'll have hopefully we'll have a bigger platform, but for now we here. And Jonelle says, trying to bring R. Kelly down. No one on this platform are the ones with charges on R. Kelly, nor using it to stone R. Kelly. This is a discussion also on various subjects, inspiring open-mindedness, but keep it on the down low, the song. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, right? People just jump in on something, but that person was already on something. They, have a problem with Black men, and it's unfortunate, right? Because one day Black women like that are going to realize you need Black men. And when they don't come to your rescue and when you really need one, they're going to be like, nah, keep that same energy you had when you was talking bad about us.
And that kind of attitude isn't just picked up, it's also taught.
Oh, yeah, her mama probably like that. Black men ain't this, but I'm sure her mama was with a Black man to make her at one point in time. And he says, why is Candace Owens trying to help modern women all of a sudden? Did you see her talking about cooking and cleaning? Candace Owens, I'll tell y'all, just go back to Dave Chappelle's talking point. She is a raggedy, rotten bee. And she is. Robin says, nobody was talking bad about Black men. Just a turtle that's late to getting to the chat. Probably don't even follow this channel at all. At all, right?
Well, people like that sometimes are also getting their money. They're paid agents to do what they do to change the narrative and the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Bonnie says, you speak, Demetra, 100, a number, true love over here. Speak with a lot of fire. If they don't like the channel, skip and go someplace else. Nobody is defending R. Kelly, never, to be clear. Yeah, nobody was doing that at all. And Nietzsche said they should have say no, ma'am, Pam. And Bonnie says, Democrats are showing their ham, the fact that you wouldn't even put an emergency order to stop evictions. I'm done with them. No reparation, no vote. Same thing for Republicans. I can care less. Yeah, Democrats are just as complacent in what's going on with people. So absolutely.
But wait, but is it their fault or is it our fault? Are we holding them accountable? No, we're not.
Yeah, stop putting them there in the first place. And Bringing It Black. It says also pull up the Congressional Black Caucus virtual conference. September 12th to 14th. Let them know we aren't with their ish. I'm gonna put this comment up because we need to. I know I will check on it, see what they're talking about. And Willie, how you doing? He says, I said, Demetra, I see Demetra has a little bit of dragon in her. She can stick the knife in your heart with a polite smile. I love it. Yeah,
let me tell you guys something. Demetra, and look, I fear for Al sometimes. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
No, I try not to, because I realize, I have the voice on this platform, so I try to be cool with people. But some people, they just operate out of ignorance, and I really try to restrain myself. I try to keep the in the house Demetra off of social media.
Yeah, you guys notice Demetra doesn't jab me in the ribs as much anymore since we're like 2,000 miles apart. So
I be tearing them ribs up. And Terry says, I believe that leave or stay. We should do what works for us, and the others should at least be supportive. I want to leave, but I want nothing but the best for those who stay. Absolutely. And Money says, now some of them love to stir controversy until you put sorry behinds on blast and show some what they're made of. Then, like the punks they are, they crawl what they tell, caught between their legs. Let's be clear. And Olivia says, F Candace Owens. I second that. And Sunlight says, the youth police have found me. You two police have found me. Be careful. And the Pioneer says, it seems like right after the riots of 2020, all of a sudden this divide between black man and black woman started getting wider with strange sites and channels popping up. I find that suspicious. I do too. Because the more they keep us divided, then none of us will rise at all, right? And Frank says, bringing it back, where can we catch this? So I'm bringing it black, rather. So I put it, so let us know where we can find it. And Marty says, I know he was charged with having sex with minors and giving a venereal disease that cannot be cured, such as herpes. And it's been about 7 or 8 people have gave testimony with polygraphs. So to the backstory. And Thunder says, this is how you know when you're actually starting to move up, getting haters and trolls, unfortunately, right? And Pioneer says, go to some of these black men or black woman bashing channels, and you'll see people donating $100 to $300 in a super chat. The more hatred and negativity, the more money donated. I find that suspicious. I do too, and I do see that as well. The money says, anytime Demetra somebody gets on and they're not respectful to you and Donovan, they should be blocked automatically. It's one thing to speak your truth, it's another to speak on what you don't know. Come on with it. If I see it again, I will. And I says, Demetra is the truth. I thank you for that. And Lamarcus says, speaking on a larger platform, I can guarantee y'all, if you had segments of racist Karen on every now and then, this channel will skyrocket. Just saying, but I love the channel anyway. Yeah, we can get into some of that kind of stuff.
Well, when we started doing this, we wanted to, we actually thought about it. I keep telling Demetra right now, we can get 1 million subscribers right now if she would just put on those booty shorts and just start doing what comes natural. Like her mama said, use what you got.
But I ain't gonna use that. Marty says, most of the women that say they hate the man, you already know what lifestyle they're in. So do not hate on black man because he's well endowed and can do all of that and then some. That's for the better. All right now.
Well, I like to, not do the norm. So I try to be different.
Okay, and Sunlight says, Demetra, okay, you can still see me. Thank God they've been blocking me for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, I can see you. And you know what? That's the end of the comments, and we are right on time. We're about to get out of here, y'all. We thank y'all so much, and I'll read the comments as we leave. Martin says, I respect what you and saying, Demetra. However, why have a child illegitimate and you can't afford it when you're on a Maury show looking stupid, getting an education first, then you have your children. Once you're married, and I agree with that, you can cut it off at the source. You can avoid getting in that situation at the source. Stop lying down with people you don't want to have a child with. Stop lying down with people unprotected if you don't have the resources mentally, physically, financially to take care of a child. You can stop it all at the source, especially if you were living in places where they're making abortions illegal. I know it's easier. It shouldn't be easier said than done, right? I mean, just do it. That's all I have to say, right? I have one child, so I stopped because that's all I could do. And no, thank you guys. And let's see. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, Jonelle says, let's elevate by doing all the things that elevate Peace. And Pam is jamming says zero tolerance for bad behavior in our community. Exactly. And bringing it black, he says shout out to Uncle Brother on Twitter for sharing that info. Yes, I follow him as well. He be out there sharing a lot of stuff. And somebody says another great broadcast family. They can't stop this. Good evening and have a great prosperous week, family. Yes, indeed. And thank you, Olivia. We enjoy you as well for being here. So, you guys, if you want to support New Black Media, we have a Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. You can become a member and join the super chat, however that works. If you want to support this channel, and we thank all of the members for supporting the channel, people who have donated this far. So, Donovan, what say you before we leave?
Hey, yes, again, you guys are the ones that make the channel great. I love to monitor the comments because I'm noticing y'all ain't paying attention. Y'all are not paying attention. You guys are talking among each other and throwing these great ideas and having that conversation. And that is one of the things we need in our community, to start talking to each other and exchanging different ideas and difference of opinion. So you guys help make the show better. We learn just as much from you as you do from us. Don't forget to tune into my podcast. I will be dropping a video tonight on YouTube, blah, 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 later on tonight. Check it out. It's on iHeartRadio, all the different platforms for podcasting. Just look up Donovan Sadiq, it'll be there. And again, thank you to my host, Demetra Kaye, for another great thing as she restrained herself because I was about to go. I gotta go.
Well, Independent Thought is back, and you say, why y'all hating on Candace Owens, but not Kevin? I hate black women Samuels. Well, clearly you don't follow the show, and is it hate or is it the truth? They're both pariahs in the black community. They mean black people no earthly good at all. Anytime anybody is dividing black people for any reason, they are no good for black people. So you might want to stick around and follow this channel. We are not fans per se of Kevin Samuels either. We just happen to be talking about Candace Owens' black ass. So anyway, y'all, we are out of here. We'll see you guys on Thursday on Don't Believe the Hype. If you guys have something you guys want us to talk about, inbox either Donovan or I, and we'll be more than happy to do so. Moni, I will check out the things that you emailed me, and I will tell you guys, a lot of you guys send me stuff. I don't unfortunately have a lot of time to look at everything because I get a lot of stuff, but I do appreciate you guys keeping me abreast of certain things that are going on. And we'll also be back on Friday for Free Flow Friday for everything that's happened in the news throughout the week. So you guys be safe and stay cool out there and enjoy the rest of your evening.